Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in. Okay, so as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you have not done so, be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time that I go live on this channel. Okay, bear with me just a moment. Let me change this banner. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's see who we have in here. Hello, Lynn, True Justice, Hiram Bungani, A.B. the Great, Pimp D. Jack. Okay, Jesus is Black Christ. I watched First Encounters of the Fifth Kind today and thought this very thing. The aliens got to be black. It was talking about communicating with them with consciousness, and they only care if your heart is pure. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So with that all being said, pay attention to this. Hey, Beatzilla and Millie. So pay attention to this. The universe is made of melanin, right? So it would be safe to assume that things that come from the universe would also have melanin. Now, there have been numerous sightings, and people have said that they have seen aliens or extraterrestrials that are black. Okay. NASA astronauts have said this. There was a group of school kids over in Africa that said it. There's numerous people that have said this. There was a woman that was on Oprah who also said something pertaining to that. Okay, so I'm going to get into that in just a moment. Before I do, let me get this article together. And while I'm doing so, everyone, please be sure to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Okay. And this is really like just a carryover from last night, basically. Okay, I'm looking for that that article from Oprah. Hold on. Okay, here it is right here. Yeah, so let me forward this over to my other email. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, people. Hold on just a moment. Okay, there we go. Okay. So let's talk about the children over in Zimbabwe and who said that they saw a spacecraft. Let's get into that first. So remembering Zimbabwe's great alien invasion. Tracking down one of the aerial school experiencers took some doing, but eventually I connected with Sarah and what she referred to as a most stubborn old roadie. Okay. One of the more than 110 children and staff who had been at the school, which sits just outside the small agricultural center of Ruwa, where the aliens landed in 1994. Now, she thought she was probably the only one still in the country. She said everyone effed off to China or the UK, or they died. Now, when it became clear to her drinking buddies that they were going to talk UFOs, their eyes began to roll. So she said, what do you want to know? Actually, it'd be simpler if I just shoot. It happened. It was 62 kids between the ages of 6 and 12 saw aliens land and get off of their little ships. When the kids returned to class, they were completely freaked out, and they couldn't stop nattering about little men who looked a bit like Michael Jackson. Now, the teachers told them to shut up, and then the class proceeded. But the next day, the school received a bunch of calls from parents wanting to know why their kids were so spooked. It got so that the teachers started to freak out too, and a local UFO expert called Cynthia Hind was invited to speak to everyone. Now, it was via her that I think that we heard about a famous shrink who was coming from the U.S. to assess the children. What was his name? It was Dr. John Mack, who I heard was killed by a drunk driver just a few years back. Now, she said Hind, who died in 2000, had publicly acknowledged her own experiences with otherworldly beings in the past and had dedicated the past decade and a half of her life to investigating UFO sightings in the African continent and on behalf of the Mutual UFO Network, and then publishing her findings in the very collectible newsletter, UFO Afro News. So anyway, I'm going to skim through some of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Okay, she said she had received several reports of alien sightings around the same time. A young boy and his mother reported a daylight sighting. A trucker had seen strange beings on the road at nights. And then on September the 16th, Hind received a report from Ariel School, which she records as Case 96 and describes as one of the most exciting UFO stories of any that year. Now, Hind's narrative closely mirrors Sarah's recollection. At 10 a.m., Hind writes that on a hot day, the children were let out of their mid-morning break. Let out for their mid-morning break. They were drawn to an area beyond their playing field of long grass with thorn and other indigenous bushes, trees, and all of that, growing higgily in a fashion, and undergrowth thick and heavy enough to hide a child should anyone venture there. Now, the teachers had all entered the staff room for a meeting, and the only adult outdoors was the tuck shop mistress, who was soon swamped by children claiming that they had seen 3 or 4 objects coming into the rough bush area. Said these were disc-like objects coming in along the power lines and finally landing in the rough among the trees. Now, the children were a bit afraid, although they were still very curious. So the UFO investigator goes on the record with the testimonies of several children who she represented, a cross-section of Zimbabweans, Black African children in several tribes, colored children, a cross-breeding of Black and white children, Asian children whose grandparents were from India, and white children, mostly Zimbabwean born. But most parents were either from South Africa or Britain. Now, although they all came from wealthy families, Hind believed their cultural differences gave rise to differing interpretations of the events, and the differences in interpretation made the details that were common to all accounts very compelling indeed. One of the white students said, for example, thought at first there were little Black men. Might have been Mrs. Stevens Gardner. But then he saw the figure had long, straight Black hair, not really like a Black person's hair. So he thought maybe he made a mistake. Some of the Black children thought the short little beings were Zavikwambo or Tuglashis, the evil goblins of Shona, or things they've heard of in folklore. And they were afraid, thinking they would be eaten. Now, this person by the name of G Guy said, I could see the little man about a meter tall. He was dressed in a black shiny suit. He was Black. He had long Black hair, and his eyes, they seemed lower on the cheek than our eyes. They were large and elongated. The mouth was just a slit, and the ears were hardly discernible. Now, Hind's account ends with her outrage at the disbelief of the children's parents. She was quite frankly annoyed that the parents didn't believe their children had seen these things. Okay, so after reading the article, Sarah ordered another castle and said, to be perfectly honest, I don't think you would be talking to me right now if it wasn't for that woman, Hind. Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing. Like I said, it's quite long. But I basically wanted to let you all know that numerous of these children said that they saw them, and they said that they were Black. And in fact, one of them said that they looked like Michael Jackson. And then the teacher told them to shut up. So a very descriptive depiction. Yes. And then one of them also said that it was Black, but it had long hair, not like a Black person's hair. So he thought maybe he'd made a mistake. So let me say this. We know we live in a world of white wannabe supremacy, right? That's just the facts. So with that all being said, do you think if there's a higher intelligent force, a higher level of intelligence, extraterrestrial beings, a higher level of intelligence, and those people are black, do you think they're going to admit and tell us that they're black? Is that what you think? Because I've often heard them say that they're called the grays. So they say they're gray. Why would they say they're gray? Well, because they don't want to say they're black. Even the woman who was on Oprah, she said that the being was dark, like a dark olive green, could be mistaken for a black person. But she wouldn't say that it was black. She said it could be mistaken for a black person. Oh, but they're black. And the astronaut from NASA said that what he saw, the ones he saw, were also black. Okay? Right, Jesus is black, Christ. They never give us credit. Let's remember some things before I go on further. Let's remember that the universe is made of melanin. And we are made of melanin. All right? Let us also remember that Kemet, which is now Egypt, the word Kemet means land of blackness. That's how you know the Egyptians were black. No matter what they tell you, no matter how they go over there and change the paintings on the ancient walls of Kemet and lighten them up. And I've shown pictures of them literally changing the skin tone, repainting our ancestors' work to make them look like they're anything other than black. And also, let's not forget that how they went over there, the Europeans went over there and shot the noses off of the Egyptian statues, because the nose was one of the main ways you could tell that these were a black race of people, because they had broader noses. So they shot the noses off of them. That's another thing they did to hide the fact that they were black. Another thing they did is there's a bust of Nefertiti that we all have seen, likely. And Nefertiti is white with a pointed nose, right? Well, years, and it was shown when they had this bust supposedly found and dug up from the ground. It was all videotaped, right? But then we find out later that it was all a stunt. It was a white man who got a bust made of his wife, who is also white. And then he took it there and buried it himself, and then hired a camera crew to come and videotape him digging so he can act like he conveniently found a bust of Nefertiti, and to make everyone in the world think that she is white or was white. It is the same thing with the false image of a white Jesus, a white Messiah. They have made these images of white Jesus, who I've told you numerous of times is none other than Caesar Borgia, who was the son of Pope VI, who raped his sister, killed his brother, right? And had an incestuous relationship with his own mother, and was the lover of Leonardo da Vinci, who in fact painted that picture of him that everyone sees now, and many people think is white Jesus. As Caesar Borgia, okay? So these are the things that they do, because we live under a system of oppressive wannabe white supremacy. And so with that all being said, they will never tell you that Egyptians were black, that Nefertiti and Cleopatra were black. They'll say they're anything other than black, in fact, right? They've whitewashed our history. So with that all being said, do you think they would ever tell you that these intelligent life forms who come from galaxies far away, that they are black? That's what they wouldn't tell you, okay? So let's continue. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share this video. Let me read a few of the comments. Okay, EA says, Queen, I heard our people have material in us like the stars in the sky. Haven't had a chance to research this for myself, but I do plan to. I have no doubts of that. Okay, that is something good that I will also research, but I have no doubt of that. Queen Adia says the whiting out is to make you think everyone important is white and to forget your melanated history. Yes, and to also make it seem like everything came from whiteness. But here's the thing. The truth of the matter is all colors all colors of the prism and spectrum came from the color black. You can get any color out of black, but you cannot get black out of any color. Therefore, black women can give birth to a child that doesn't look black, that is in fact white skinned, right? While a white woman cannot give birth to a child that is black. That's what they can't do. We have the Eve gene, okay? I heard that about the stars before. Absolutely, absolutely. That's true about the stars. Mahogany X said come from black. Absolutely. Queen Sheba, black. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let me continue because now I'm going to show you all some of this footage. Let me start with Nuri Muhammad from the Nation of Islam speaking. Has the black base, say it, Queen Ahmadiyya, you are on fire. Thank you, Queen Adia, beloved, with the truth, okay? All right, so let's listen to this. I'm going to play a clip of Brother Nuri Muhammad speaking. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. Let me cue the video. Everyone, please get the likes up. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Since nobody knows, it could be almost anything.
There's currently a working telescope at the observatory where the university conducts research.
Why do you think the slave said, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home? You ain't talking about a slave ship. Slave ships float. But if you're asking something to swing low, it has to be flying high. So 3,000 years ago, located 700 miles south of Cairo and the Giza Plateau, at a place called Abydos, there's written on the ceiling beams of the New Kingdom Temple, carved in stone, images of flying contraptions. Y'all can't see them from there, but you get the DVD and we'll zoom in on them for you. Here you see a picture of a helicopter. Y'all not seeing it. There you see a submarine. Here you see an airplane. Y'all with me? Then I got to go back to the other page because it's something that they didn't talk about. There's another object on this particular form where you find this airplane, helicopter, and submarine. And it is a acorn-shaped object. Did y'all hear? And if you look very carefully as we zoom in, this acorn-shaped object has another smaller acorn-shaped object hovering underneath it. Y'all call them UFOs. We call them IFOs because they are identified flying objects. These are wheels in the middle of the wheel that Ezekiel seen. This is the bomber plane and the mother plane. They seen it in Africa long before the white man ever started flying.
Okay, but if there are craft, there are beings.
Okay, people have asked me.
Now this is the NASA astronaut who also says that he saw black beings on the spacecraft.
I call them vehicles, okay?
Right.
No, I did not call them objects. That was too neuter for me.
Okay.
I had a Stanford professor said you ought to call them objects. No, they have all of the qualities of a vehicle. They can move. You know, they're just like a missile or anything like that. So that much we can say about them, for sure.
Okay,
So I'm calling them in.
okay.
Okay, somebody comes along and says, well, now where would you manufacture one that's 2.5 Earth lengths long? And that's a hard question to answer.
So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
Yeah, I only go along with government images. And if you want to know about people kind of thing, there is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off,
Not dark, black,
black skin,
really black. Yeah,
were they tall?
yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
it's safe. 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Have you heard about Clark McClellan's statement about that?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Have you ever been in touch with him?
No.
No?
There is one image there that shows black people getting off.
Now y'all heard that he said it was black people getting off, and she tried to twist it because she first said people like us. No, not like you. And then when he said black people, she said people with dark skin. He said no, black people. Okay? He looks like he's still in shock. Yes, absolutely. Okay, Terry said black is beautiful. See how Karen tried to spin it? Dark skinned people, right? And he let her know. He said no, black. Okay? Absolutely. Now, let me play the clip from Oprah. Hold on just a second, people. Let me play the clip from Oprah's show real quick. Okay.
I'm talking today to women who say they have been abducted by aliens from another planet. And you're going to describe to us what they look like.
May I briefly say, I don't know for a fact that they're from another planet. I assume so, but I am dealing with a lot of unknowns. I don't know where they come from. I just can describe what I saw. I don't have the answers.
Well, you know you weren't in Kansas anymore, Toto.
And I wasn't wearing red shoes that I could click together either.
I mean, okay, so, and they look like?
They're humanoid as far as the body, very small frames, about 3.5 to 4 feet tall. And I found myself laughing to myself when I saw them because I just saw one being actually, because the skin was very, very dark olive green, so dark it could be mistaken for black. And I even laughed to myself.
All right! All right!
No. I laughed to myself.
We're in control in outer space! All right.
I laughed to myself.
No, I believe you, girl. You know I believe you. Hi, YouTubers. I'm excited to give you an update about our own YouTube channel. Now you can find.
Hold on. Screen froze. Okay. So anyway, with that all being said, people, here's the thing. Now you see, Harpo wasn't joking with Becky or Karen, right? You see, she didn't want to admit they were black. So she said they had very dark green skin that could be mistaken for black. And she laughed to herself. No, they weren't green. They were black. Okay? They were black. That's when okra was a little black. Right, absolutely. Okay? Blackfoot says okra can go suck on an egg. So with that all being said, clearly they are black. And that's not the only time people have said that. Now, there was a guy who also said that he had dreams of these beings. And he also said that they were black. Okay, so I'm going to play a clip of that. Hold on just a moment. Un momento. Okay, here we go.
Like a glowing white outfit. It didn't have a shine, but it just had like a light bulb glow. And she looked very happy. And she came closer to me and she rubbed my arm like this with two fingers, and she said, "You know, like black people." And I woke up. I didn't understand the dream because I have black friends. I don't have anything against black people. I didn't understand. So I had another dream right after this dream. That the kind of dream where you remember and never forget. But I remember in this dream that I was staring at my feet, that I was barefooted, and I was standing on something that felt perfect on my feet, like the way that the temperature, the way how it felt like it wasn't like a flat marble slab where you can slip. This thing had felt like a nice, perfect grip. And I started looking at what I was standing on, and it was like it wasn't gold, but it was golden. And it kind of had like these sparkles in it where it kind of looked like it dissipated thicker and as it got to the thicker of it. And and that's when you feel the presence of no time. It's like you just know that there's no any time there. And so when I raised my eyes, because in the dream I was looking at the ground and even wanted a closer look at it, but then when I raised my eyes, I saw a gate. I said, so I said, I must be in heaven. The peace and where I stood, but I saw a gate, and on the other side of the gate, it was like a whole bunch of black people looking at me, and I had this feel of like they're looking at me like he think he's about to walk up in here or something. But these people had ancient type of look, like they were taller, different kind of shapes, but they were all black. I didn't see anything else.
So y'all heard that, right? He said they were all black. I don't think. Hold on. I don't think he's part of 2/3. He high off that stuff. He making up this story as he thinks. Oh no, I think he absolutely dreamt it. I think he absolutely did. Because I don't think he would have dared said that the woman stroked him and said, you know, like black people. I don't think he would have added that in. Okay? Or maybe he's not that high. He see black people. Right. So he clearly said that the people that he saw were black in his dream. Okay? Now, here's the thing. When you see these people telling stories about seeing UFOs and aliens or whatever, and they say that they describe them as having big heads and dark eyes and no mouths and stuff like that, that is likely a robot, because there's been people that said they saw these robotic looking beings, and that's how they described them. And there was someone who said that they saw black extraterrestrials, right, who were in charge, but they had these little small robotic looking beings working for them. So this is what I think a lot of people are seeing, what they call the grays. Okay? That's where I think that came from. I believe he saw black people. Yes, absolutely. Lee Hart said, my stomach hurts. My stomach hurts too, especially when Bungani said, if pickles were humans, that's what they look like. Okay? So that's very interesting, because like I said, there have been numerous people, and even those children. Now, I looked for the video. I read you the article, but what I really wanted to show you was the video of those white children in Africa who were literally saying that they saw black extraterrestrials get off of a craft. Now, they didn't call them extraterrestrials, but they said they were black. The children said that themselves, one by one, when they were being interviewed, they actually said that they were black. Okay? So there's many people saying this. You know, if an astronaut says that, I'm just going to believe it, because they've been up there in space. Okay? So that's very interesting, right? Very interesting. Hold on. Okay, here's another clip. Now listen to this. This is another person talking about what he saw. Gonna share my screen again.
And I see people, in a panic, looking up, pointing, and I look up, and there was this huge, like horseshoe-shaped craft hovering above us, like real slowly. And on top of the craft, I noticed it had like these buildings, like skyscraper buildings and statues that were also very like large, like skyscraper size. And the craft was huge, like a city size aircraft. But yeah, and then I see it fly by us, and then it drops 2 bombs in different parts of the city. And that's when people, and I start feeling panic in the dream, and we start running, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the city and find my family and get us, somewhere safe. And I noticed that there's this like lava substance that's flowing, like swallowing things and people, like going uphill and going up buildings. And it felt like you couldn't escape from it, like no matter where you went. But then I find myself with friends and family, and that we were trying to, you know, figure out what we could do. And that's when the beings from the craft appeared to us. And what tripped me out is that they were all black people, and they said that we had to come with them if we wanted to survive or to live. And but then they said that no white people were allowed to go with them, that they had to stay here. And then I asked them why, and they said because your leader has broken our treaty, and for that they had to be punished and they couldn't be trusted anymore, or something like that. And then I tell them about, you know, my kids are half white, and he tells me, you know, that that was fine, that to bring them. And so I'm right there, I guess, walking down the street behind them, like towards, I guess, the craft, and I see people on the sides of the streets, like yelling, you know, don't go, don't do it, it's a trap, it's better for you to stay and fight, and things like that. And I kind of started thinking, like, you know, yeah, what is it that these people want? What are they gonna do to me and my kids? Where are they taking us? And as I'm thinking that, uh, one of the one of the guys or whatever from the craft, he turns around and like kind of looks at me. And the strange thing is like he was showing me like glimpses through like the mind's eye of their home. So I'm, you know, I was right there just staring at him, and it almost felt like he was just showing me pictures in my mind of what their home looked like and what it was like. And you know, as I'm sitting or standing there thinking, what should I do? It feels better for me to go or to stay and fight. That's like when I wake up. But yeah, I just thought it was strange, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. And you know, I woke up like tripping out, almost felt like if it was some type of message dream. And I still, you know, could picture it pretty like vividly, the craft and their home planet. And so I started Google searching like horseshoe shaped UFOs, and I found some, but I could, you know, there was no picture of the exact one that I seen in my dream. And I also started looking for videos of like I guess if there ever is, you know, was a record of any extraterrestrials that were actually, you know, like black people. And there was videos I came across about that subject, and of I forgot the name of this guy, but some like NASA scientist guy or astronaut or something like that, just like telling his story and how he also seen uh, these black extraterrestrial beings. One.
Okay, so you all heard it, right? Now that wasn't the same person. That was not the same person from the first video. That other guy wasn't wearing glasses and he looked different. That wasn't the same guy. That was another guy who had dreams about black aliens. Okay, that's deep and speaks even more to show I was watching. Everything they communicated was in the mind, even how they got from place to place. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then RG3 says, wow, your leader has broken our treaty. This is what is happening right now in the world. The leaders are breaking treaties and murdering black people. Yes, said that your leader has broken our treaties and they're not to be trusted anymore. They're not to be trusted anymore. And we do know that since they came here, they have broken every treaty that they signed. Okay? That's what they've done. So yes, that is highly plausible. That makes all the sense. Okay? And told them they were letting people come, said, come with us if you want to be saved, but said that no white people could come. And then he said, well, my kids are half white. Slavery and still killing us. Absolutely. Yes, you're right, Queen. Facts, my sister. Thank you, Blackfoot. Thank you. Now let's go on, because there's also a Puerto Rican man who speaks about this as well. Okay, so let me share my screen again. Hold on, people. Let me get this other video queued real quick. Amari Rivera. That's his name, Amari Rivera. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share the video. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, please.
Of May 14th, 1988, Amari Rivera, a young man from Puerto Rico, photographed a giant disc, followed and circled by 2 jet interceptors. What makes the sensational pictures even more interesting is Rivera's claim that he had contact with the occupants of this UFO.
Hello, my name is Amaury Rivera. I live in Puerto Rico, and back in 1988, I was working in a nightclub, and there was a musical group there. One of my cousins wanted me to photograph the musical group, and she loaned me a camera with some film. On my way back home, I encountered 2 small beings, 2 small strange men, which I didn't think were men from outer space, and they took me somewhere where there were other people besides myself, other human people, like from Puerto Rico, I guess. From here, another human being showed up. He claimed to be from a distant planet. He was dressed in black. He had a dark skin, but he was not a Negro. He had a long black hair up to the shoulders. And he spoke to us with the mouth, verbally, and no telepathic speaking. He showed us various projections, which looked very real, the projections, and he informed us about a whole bunch of things that are even still incredible to me. Then they returned me to...
What did this holographic projection show?
The holographs were mainly, the first one that I can remember was like a short trip through space. We saw where he came from, where he's said to be from. We saw his people. We saw the houses that they use. And the second one was about a meteor or a rock falling to Earth in the near future, which is going to cause a lot of havoc in the world. This would fall, it's going to fall in very near the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, and those other small islands, but it's going to affect the whole world, not just Puerto Rico. The last one is that they projected. It was showing us how there was only going to be one government on the planet Earth. They'll be living on some sort of artificial island that's going to be floating in the middle of a dark, black, dirty sea. And then this man returned me to my car again and left me somewhere different from where the whole ordeal had started. Apparently, they took me with car and all. After this, at this given time, I heard some jets in the sky, and I still had my cousin's camera, and I took the pictures, 4 of which I'm making public nowadays.
So the jets followed the UFO.
Yes, it was. They seemed to be surveilling it. I only got to capture just one of the jets in the photograph, but there were 3 of them. Or maybe I got in one of the photos one, and in the second or third I got one of the other ones, because they would go around it very far away, and while this one was closer and turn, very far very far. And by the time this one was coming back, another one was turning over there. There was always one or the other close to the
Witnesses contacted Amori himself.
So far, between 1988 and 1992, I've been able to localize 7 of these people. Because I've gone on different TV shows and different articles, and I've always been asking if anybody remembers anything similar happening to them, and that year during that time, Mother's Day, to please get in touch with me. And I have gotten in touch with hundreds of people, but out of the hundreds, 7 definitely were there with me. I still have 7 to go. Maybe I'll never find them. Maybe they'll see this.
Amori Rivera was intimidated and pressured by government agents to hand over his pictures.
Well, a short time after the incident, 3 men showed up at my home in Puerto Rico, and one of them stood in their car downstairs, and they claimed to be from CIA, and they handed me 2 pieces of paper, which I was so nervous I couldn't really read, but I remember seeing the letter CIA, which is the intelligence agency from the United States, and they said that it would be easier and better for me if I handed them the photographs and the negatives, but they did not say, what photographs or what negatives. They didn't specify, and I just told them that I did not know what they were talking about. And they said it would be easier because we have an order to register your house, to look through your house. And I said, well, go ahead, be my guest and look. And they looked, but they couldn't find them because I had hid them very well.
On the morning of May 14th, 1988, Amori Rivera.
So y'all heard that, right? He was smart. Christopher says they probably told him to say not Negro. Right. But pay attention. Pay attention. They showed up at his door, 3 men talking about they were from the CIA and demanding his pictures that he had taken. Because they didn't want nobody to know that they were dark-skinned, like he said. Okay? So, or black. So they wanted his pictures and they came in to search, but he said he had hid them very well. Okay? Said that he hid them very well. The government confiscated his pics, the evidence. Well, he said he hid them. He didn't give it to him. He hid them. They came to confiscate it, but he actually hid it. So hold on. I'm going to go to part 2 because there's another part to this, to his what he had to say. Everyone, please be sure to get the likes up. Please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, please.
Contacted Amori himself.
So far, between 1988 and 1992, I've been able to localize 7 of these people. Because I've gone on different TV shows and different articles, and I've always been asking if anybody remembers anything similar happening to them, and that year during that time, Mother's Day, to please get in touch with me. And I have gotten in touch with hundreds of people, but out of the hundreds, 7 definitely were there with me. I still have 7 to go. Maybe I'll never find them. Maybe they'll see this.
You investigated the Rivera case, Colonel Stevens. What was your impression?
Well, of course, Jorge Martin took me to meet Jorge Rivera, Amaury Rivera, shortly after I got there with a Mexican team to study some phenomena in Puerto Rico. And when I first met Amaury, he was very reluctant to describe his case because it still frightened him to think about it. And it took some time before we could develop enough confidence where he was comfortable talking to us about the case. But he would still tremble when he thought about it. He would turn pale. He'd become weak. He he was frightened. But he has now reviewed the details and the points in sufficient length and depth that he can face the experience without the trauma, which he has learned to do. And today or yesterday, we saw for the first time that he is able to manage his emotions well enough to describe that contact in considerable detail.
You carefully analyzed the Rivera photographs.
We took the pictures, yes. We took the pictures taken by Amaury Rivera to a NASA consultant facility in Scottsdale, where we put them through a computer analysis using latest state-of-the-art equipment. And we found that both the disc-shaped craft seen in the photographs and the aircraft are considerable distance from the camera, between 3 and 5 miles. We discovered that the jet fighter was moving and that the disc-shaped craft was moving relatively slow or not moving at all. We discovered that the ambient light conditions were correct in all respects. We were able to eliminate montages, paste-ups, reflections, models, all kinds of forms of technical manipulation of photographs. And we had to conclude that the pictures were real and that they were exactly as described by the witness when he took the photographs.
Actually, Amaury Rivera was intimidated and pressured by government agents to hand over his pictures.
Well, a short time after the incident.
Okay, fast forward because we heard that part already.
Big-headed gray creature.
Because I had hit them very well.
Amaury's case was not an individual case.
Well, the results are in the sense that this really is happening. There's a pattern that fits in all these cases. Most of the persons involved are women. I would say that 5-to-1 women advantage men, if we can call this an advantage, in being abducted by aliens. Most of the abductions are made by the so-called small, big-headed gray creatures, or reticulians, or whatever they are being called at this moment. And the pattern also fits with the cases in the United States and other places, in the sense that they seem to be doing something with genetics. They're very interested in our genetics, in the reproductive system. There's an angle in all of this that has also to do something with spiritual development of man, and so forth.
Pat Mercatilia has been investigating cases of UFO abductions on a scientific basis for 10 years.
An abduction is an occurrence which people report where they have a vivid dream of being terrified to death of something chasing them. Sometimes it's down the street, sometimes it's in the car while they're walking, or something that they are extremely terrified of for the evening that they are sleeping in bed, or sometimes driving down the road, and the next morning they have these reoccurring vivid dreams of this terrifying time they've had, and they are almost put into a shock by it, and they don't know who to turn to tell about it, so they keep it locked up in their minds, and it begins to deteriorate their health in a lot of cases. Sometimes people have kept it in their mind for 20 years without being able to tell anyone about it, because of the feeling that they would be ridiculed, or their sanity may be questioned by revealing what they have experienced.
How do you handle these nightmares?
Yes, we have perfected that, and they go through a hypnotic regression, we call it, where the doctor puts them into a relaxed state. And in this state, they are able to totally relax, and in that manner begin to remember the entire incident, and much more clearly than normal.
Okay. So that's indeed very interesting, people. And let me say this. Let me get this chat back started. Okay, so let me say this. So when the gentleman was saying, the Hispanic guy, when he was saying that they were gray, and they showed the aliens with the big eyes, or the big heads and the eyes and the little thin lips, those are robotic creatures that the black extraterrestrials have created to do the work. As I told you, numerous people have said that. Those are not the extraterrestrials. Those are robotics, okay? Because remember, they're light years ahead of us. They've been having all sorts of technology and things that we're just now getting down here on Earth. With that all being said, there's been people who came out and said they saw these robotic-looking creatures who are being controlled by the black extraterrestrial. Okay, so that's what he was talking about. Yes, Nicole, they call them the Greys. Okay, so hold on, let me see if I can find something real quick. Everyone, please get the likes up. Please like and share. Okay, someone put in the chat they wanted to hear a black person's story that was abducted. Black people have not really been abducted. There's only one case that I was able to find about a black man who was abducted, and he was married to a white woman named Betty. That was the case of Barney and Betty Hill. Okay? They were abducted, and this was like in the 60s. And basically, I think they were abducted because they wanted to examine his wife. Because here's the thing, when these abductions occur and people talk about being prodded and having stuff extracted from them and having surgical procedures done on them, like experiments, that's because likely these extraterrestrials are trying to see how these beings were created, right? Where they came from and things like that. Hold on, because they're unfamiliar with them. Because remember what they say about Dr. Yakub, all right, creating them from gene splicing, all right, like 6,000 something years ago. Now, hold on, I'm going to see if I can find a video about them, with them talking. I think this is it right here. Hold on. I think this may be a recreation. Hold on, people. That looks like a recreation. Let me see if I can find the original. Okay, I think this is it. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical...
Now, let me just tell you about this briefly. In September, this is the Hill abduction. Barney and Betty Hill, a married interracial couple. This occurred in September of 1961. A New Hampshire couple, Barney and Betty Hill, were returning from a vacation to Niagara Falls. During their drive, they claimed to have muddled memories from an extraterrestrial encounter. Over the next few years, they would undergo hypnosis treatment and reveal their story, which was the first highly publicized alien abduction story in the American zeitgeist. Okay.
Amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch, but you won't because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020, underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hello, and welcome to the Unresolved Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Whelan, and before I get started, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for listening. I took a bit of a break after the last episode due to the holidays and keeping myself busy, but I'm excited to be back in 2017 and to kick things off with a bang. A story that harkens back to the heyday of UFO sightings in the 1960s. I know some of you may be disappointed with this being kind of an oddball subject matter, but I'm having some.
Okay. I'm not going to play all of that. I thought is that a picture of them? She looks like his grandmother. I swear. Yes, this is a picture of them. I'm not going to play that. I didn't realize that was a podcast. I thought this was just a video of them being interviewed, perhaps. But yes, this is a picture of the couple right here, Barney and Betty Hill. I think this is a video of them right here under hypnosis. This is what I was looking for.
We go deeper and deeper, deeper asleep. Far asleep. Deeper and deeper. Fully relaxed. All muscles are relaxed. You're comfortable. Relaxed. You will not be anxious or distressed, but you will remember everything, and you will.
I fast forward because this is like 40 minutes. I don't have time for all that, and you all don't either.
I think
okay.
This one that is looking over his shoulder.
Okay, so where they're talking about they saw the UFO. Okay.
How could you see these figures so clearly at that distance? I was looking at them with binoculars. Oh. Mm-hmm. Did they have faces like other people? You say one reminded you of a red-headed Irishman. His eyes were slanted. I see it. Oh, his eyes were slanted. But not like a Chinese. What was Betty doing all this time? I'm not close to her. I don't know. You're out there by yourself, huh? You don't think of her. Is she saying anything? I can't hear her. Did you make any outcry to her, the way you did to me? I can't remember. I don't know. I did not.
Hold on, I'm going to fast forward a bit. Okay.
Oh. Oh, Betty. To look out. The object was still around us. I could feel it around us. I saw it when we passed by the object. When I got into the car, it had swung around so that it was out there. I knew it was out there. Yeah, it's out there. But I don't know where. I'm lost. Yes, speak a little louder. I know. Route 3. Oh, those eyes. They're there in my brain. Oh, please. Can I wake up? Stay asleep a little longer. Oh. We'll get through this now, all right. We'll get through it all right. All your feelings, tell me. It won't upset you so much. There. Isn't that funny? Oh, the woods. Yes.
Hold on, I gotta fast forward this. He's saying,
No, they're standing in the road. And where are you? You're in the car? No. I'm just suspended. I'm just floating about. Oh, how funny. Float about. Floating. Nothing. I want to get back to the car, but floating about. You really floating about, or is that the way you feel? The way I feel. You're still outside of the car? No. You're in the car. I'm not in the car. I'm not near the car. I'm not in the woods. I'm not on the road. Well, where are these men? I don't know. On the road. I don't know. I'm just floating about. Oh, geez. That's the funniest thing, Betty. Funniest thing. Where's my cigarette? Was I about to reach for a cigarette? Look that way. Go ahead and have one.
y'all going to? Really?
I thought I was coming in here and you asked me to take this seat, this chair. And then I was going to reach for a cigarette. But I never reached for it. So how do you feel? I feel fine. Good. You know what happened here? I know you put me into a trance. I know the purpose of it, but I don't know. That's all right. We'll continue this next week, a week from today.
Okay, I gotta stop because I can't really I don't want to hear all that about the hypnosis. I just you all are so crazy. I wanted to basically hear only what he was saying. I didn't want to hear all of that other stuff, right? So hold on. Let me see if I can find an article so I can just read it. Because that was a lot. Hold on, people. Okay. Let me just read you all the details of what they said. Okay, so Betty and Barney Hill are not what comes to mind when you think of a couple from the 1960s. For one, they were an interracial couple at a time in America where that wasn't very customary. Barney was an African American of Ethiopian heritage who had been born in 1922 in Newport News, Virginia, as the youngest of 4 children. Okay, so he was Ethiopian, people, or he had Ethiopian heritage. Now, Eunice Elizabeth Barrett, usually referred to as Betty, she was born in June of 1919 and had a similar background as far as her studies or whatever. Okay, so now let's get to the abduction. Okay. So they lived an hour north of Boston, Massachusetts, where Barney would commute to every day for work. He found a job as a postal worker. Okay. Now, there wasn't a lot that was unique or quirky about them. I'm trying to get to the part where they're talking about the abduction people. Hold on. I'm skimming through this. Hold on. Okay, here we have an interview with Betty from years later. Okay. Now they say Betty, who had been fascinated by the stars in the heavens, along with the United States' growing fascinations with flying saucers, began to speculate about what it may be. Barney, a former Army vet that had served in World War II, wasn't a huge fan of this predicament with his wife. According to both Betty and Barney, the craft in the sky that they saw began to follow them as they drove along the highway. They would recall passing a handful of vehicles throughout the night, but don't remember any other midnight passengers as they headed along this lone, desolate highway. Okay, so they're going to play the recollection. So, okay, I think this is it right here. Hold on. I'm going to play this video, which is supposed to be Betty's recollection. This is years later. She's visibly much older on this video. So we don't have to listen to all that hypnotism stuff that was going on. Okay.
We're talking with Betty Hill, famous and first abductee. September 19th, 1961, Betty, while driving with her husband Barney, was heading south from Canada when very early in the morning, he saw a strange light behind the car. It was September 19th. But what time was that, Betty, that this light behind the car appeared?
Well, we would crossed over the border into New Hampshire, and I think we started to see the light following. Actually, in the very beginning, I noticed a bright light in the sky, and I thought I was discovering a new planet until it started to move. And this was about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So we stopped the car and got out to see what this, we thought it was a plane. So we stopped the car to get out to look at it. And that's when it changed direction and started coming in towards us. Now that was in about the Lancaster area.
So,
and then it followed us for about 30 miles. Paced our car.
And all the while, you and Barney were discussing it. What is this? What is that?
Yes, Barney did in World War II. He knew planes. And he's trying to identify this. And it's flying in a very erratic manner, which was very puzzling to us. But this is 61. We'd heard UFO. Well, actually, in those days, they called them flying saucers. We had no idea what a flying saucer looked like. But we had no fear, just curiosity. We were trying to identify this craft.
You go on in the road. You decide to pull over. Barney gets out of the car.
Actually, that was in the Indian Head area.
Okay. Am I preceding something here when you encountered alien entities, or was this after?
No, this is the next step.
Okay.
In the Indian Head area, I'm trying to attract the attention of this craft. I'm telling it, come on in. Hi. I got the window down. I'm yelling to her. Hi. Who are you? I can't feel something still. And at that point, it left the top of the mountain, came out over the highway and stopped in midair directly in front of us, maybe about 50 feet in the sky. So Barney got out with the binoculars in an attempt to identify the craft. And when he looked up, he saw a circular window with a bright light behind it, and he saw these men standing behind the window looking down at him. And at that point, the craft began to descend, and he became frightened, ran back to the car saying he thought they were trying to capture him. So we got in the car and we went speeding down the highway to avoid capture. And as we're driving along, there's beeping sounds. That sounds like something was hitting the trunk of the car, and the car vibrated. And then we drove along for about another 30 miles when Barney turned off onto a side road. And here were the group of men he'd seen on the craft standing in the middle of this road, blocking our way. And naturally, he had to stop the car. And they came up in two groups, took us out of the car, passed in the woods to where the craft was on the ground.
At that point, strange thoughts started going through your head, thoughts that weren't your own. Did you have some sort of telepathic communication with these entities, or
All our communication was verbal,
verbal?
right?
Oh, interesting.
Yep. They spoke English in a limited way. Like, a foreigner coming here and not too well acquainted with our language.
But in the same time, using common colloquialisms of the day, like you'll be back in no time or something of that ilk.
Well, in the very first part, they had us under some kind of control. And I brought myself out of this, but Barney was only able to bring himself out partly out of it. So I was just as conscious as I am right now.
They walk you into the craft up a ramp, the landed craft. This is right off Route 3. Well, actually, you didn't know where you were at that point.
Okay, so listen. I put the link to this video in the chat so that you all can go back if you'd like and watch the rest of it. Okay? So the link is in the chats so you all can go back and watch the rest of it. With that all being said, now you see that these things are real. These sightings have been real. And most of the people that I have shown, not most people overall, but I'm saying the people that I have shown, most of them say that they were black or that they are black, with that being said, okay? Looking at her. Thank you, Queen. I'll check it out. Okay, Kendall. Thank you, beloved. The Queen's ready to go. She's had a long day and Betty is long-winded. So with that all being said, yes, I'm going to conclude this broadcast, okay? So I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please make sure that you like and share the video. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Okay, let's get the channel up to 100 subscribers. And with that all being said, I will be going live on this channel again tomorrow with a totally different topic, okay? I'm going to be going live on this channel again tomorrow, like I said, with a totally different topic. So I haven't decided exactly what yet, but nevertheless, after your 6 p.m. daily vitamin. So with that all being said, I wish you all love, peace, and prosperity. I hope you enjoy the rest of this night. And until next time, Royals, I will see you all black in the chats. Peace.